Hello, this is the Side Show. I'm Theodore Parker, and this is Friday, the 13th of August, 2021. Give that a moment to sink in. Last couple of days, we've been going through a heat advisory. I think around here, this weekend, it's going to be followed by thunderstorms. Got up to 100, I think, is the way it felt for the temperature in the 90s yesterday. I want to talk about the mask. Keep one handy, keep one around you, keep one on you. I want to talk about this for a couple of minutes here, or maybe a little bit of time. We're still being advised, to put the mask back on and to wear it. And some of my personal comments on it would be like, early on, we were advised that the mask was a protection and it would help us, in, passing or transmitting the COVID-19 virus. Okay, in particular, you see people with the mask on, and I don't know if it's happened around you, but it's happened around me. Somebody will cough and they have the mask on. Some of our earlier advice was that if we had to cough into our sleeve or, cough into our shirts. You may have seen me lift my shirt collar and cough like that. The thought behind it would be, number one, it's an airborne virus. So it's going to travel on the air. But if you are coughing into your mask, then whatever you have coughed into your mask is going to be breathed right back into your own body. So it might be kind of good to drop one side, grab your shirt right quick if you know it's coming. And then that other thing with the mask is that even if you are vaccinated, you don't know who around you is or is not. So you don't want them breathing on you or transmitting that to you. So therefore the mask. Also, we have these groups that people that want to gather in large groups like surges, and then there's this thing in the news, I think it's Chicago, and as a result of that, there are 203 positive cases of COVID-19, and the media has labeled them as super spreader events. The mask helps us, and all the advice that we get from the CDC and medical personnel is not only for our own physical protection, but as a side byproduct, our mental health as well. I don't know if you've ever been to the doctor and the nurse that's, preparing you, getting you ready to see the doctor, might ask you a couple of questions. And amongst those questions are, one, do you have a desire to hurt yourself, or do you have a desire to hurt others? Do you have a desire to hurt yourself or others? Usually the answer is no. But if you have groups that large and people gathered that strictly in a time when caution is being urged, homicidal, suicidal maybe, well, we see the results no matter what the answers they might give. So, mask up. Mask up. Because remember, we're in August. It wasn't too long ago that even families were not allowed to come together if they did not live in the same household. So, we've kind of gotten past that point. But still, we now have this high positivity rate. There were a couple of variants that were out there which the medical people got on top of. So now we're dealing with Delta. So Delta has proved to be a little bit of a tough cookie. So the numbers that are affiliated with statistics that are given every day in this area, and I'm quite sure in your area, the one that you want to pay attention to besides new cases and, the death toll and all of that is the positivity rate. Because so much work was done, providing the vaccine to get the positivity rate down, 5% is the number that you want to keep in your mind. Right now, in a lot of places, the positivity rate is double that. The other day here it was 11+%. So if you can do your part, I do my part, everybody does their part, with the mask, hand sanitizing, et cetera, to bring the positivity rate back down to 5% or lower, you can presume that you've gotten on top of it. But you got to do it together. And it starts with that simple thing about a mask. Prices vary. I know the last time I had to make a purchase, it was a pack of 10, and it was between $5 and $6 with tax. And I'm still working off of that because I don't go out that much. And then I have family members that have bought the boxes, so we kind of share in that area too. Some places they'll give you one, depending on what the situation is. But keep one handy. In the news, you got the Taliban. I think a couple of weeks ago, the first group of people were welcomed home. I think it was a group of 200 from having been there, and then also to bring up the fact again that for the past 20 years, the United States has had military occupation in Afghanistan, and they're scheduled to be completely withdrawn by September, whether or not that happens or not, because the Taliban, it was like they were like poised, oh, you're leaving. Okay, can I get the door for you? Like they already inside, just waiting to open the door so you can go out. 5 cities, now you get up to 10, and it's the third and second major municipalities or whatever over there in Afghanistan. So I was thinking, well, who's doing this? Communists, Russia, China, whatever. Nope, Iraq. Remember, Iraq has that fantastic money base based on petroleum and oil, gasoline. I don't think that's ever going to be completely not in use. So they have their own money base. And a lot of times when these groups take over, it's a country that may be economically deprived. But anyway, they're moving pretty quick. 10 cities in a matter of days as the United States withdraws, which leaves the Afghan army to protect themselves. So you just have to see. But we already know they're on the move. A couple other things, I guess. Britney Spears. I'm kind of happy that she has, gotten her father off her control group. I'm not going to try to fan out each detail, but excuse me. I also have allergies, so I get a little tickling in my throat. Excuse me. So anyway, it kind of went back to how many of these musicians or celebrities that come through the entertainment and music industry have had their start with Disney. I know as little kids, they're doing Disney shows and Disney spin-offs and all of this. Then when they reach adulthood, then that kind of passes out of our mind because they're more involved with adult things. But the list is long. And some of the names on it might surprise you because of where you come into it or how you were introduced to them as a person. That being said, Disney just had this episode with a group of their employees that were involved in either child pornography or child trafficking or something like that. So they were apprehended and arrested. So you always have to keep your eyes and ears open. Never know who, what, where, when, and how. But I would say 90% of us are good people, quote unquote. But there's always that percentage. There was one thing, again, that I wanted to cover, and I've been delaying this because I guess of the nature of it, and I hope, this device will allow me to put these details out there. It's a good device, but, everything has a capacity. But what I'm going to talk about is the sideshow, Theodore Parker's sideshow in relation to Facebook. And in particular, about the fundraiser that I had mentioned, several months back and asked, you to donate to, and it's been posted and running along my Facebook page and things of this nature. Okay, I was getting kind of perturbed about it because I couldn't really see the results that were coming from it. And I had investigated, followed up, investigated, followed up, did all I could with the information that Facebook had provided. And their FAQs, frequently asked questions, which is what allowed me to put the fundraiser in place in the first place. And I have seen it come across the page and go out on various, times. And also, really what was my motivation was because everything or response that comes back from, in reference to the sideshow, I get a chance to look at. And there is some good things that come out. The sideshow is connected to the other apps, WhatsApp, Hangouts, Messenger, and so forth. So, and this device is good enough that so far nothing has gotten by it. So I'm able to keep up. But it does require time on my part to sift through everything, make decisions, take advantage of better ways to do things. But now this fundraiser. I never got any of that money to put the statement out there first so that much is where we're at. I do see the names and little pictures that come, with your Messenger app and all those little things that give a picture of you and your name, these people that have donated and all of that. And I appreciate it because a good percentage of you are people that know me personally, either people I grew up with, people I've known almost all my life. So I was starting to feel put upon because what Facebook promised as far as me receiving the money and being able to use it was not happening. And no matter how I researched, went about it, and so forth and so on, none of that money ever came my way. So I was in a big tussle argument mentally with myself about the money. So I said, well, shucks, if you don't want to give it to me, just give it back to them. I mean, these are good people. They care about me. They invested in something that I care about or believed in. They supported me. So if you don't want me to have the money for whatever reasons that you have for me not having it, at least give it back to them. So that never happened. So the thing got so complicated because of other issues involving Facebook that I had to close those accounts, open some new ones, and proceed from there. But I will say this. I don't know how, who, what, when, or where, but maybe last month, because I'm pretty meticulous with my money, there was a $7 amount that I had to figure out may have come from Facebook for that purpose. And then later on, there was another $10 amount, which couldn't have come from anywhere else. Excuse me. But now, I'm looking at some other things, that the sideshow can do. And originally, my mission statement was, I give you the news in a manner that you don't usually get it presented, et cetera, which I think pretty much I have done. But now I'm looking at other areas of interest, arts and culture, which might be a little bit inclusive, not necessarily exclusive, but inclusive to our culture. Even involves some business maneuvers. So that's going to be under PayPal. And you can access that through my email, theodoreparker90@gmail.com, theodoreparker90@gmail.com, PayPal. So it is a $20,000 arrangement, which for the first go round will go until the 5th of September. And any amount is acceptable. If you'd like to do that, that's separated from my personal account, separated from my personal money, in an account all of its own. And I'll keep you posted as to, what's going on. And if it works out, I'll let you know how the money is being used. I do have some ideas, to put out there, which, if they're allowed to run, could, be self-supporting, and I'll let you know how you can make use of that. One of the things associated with the fundraiser as I've had to delve into it, is that with all this research that I've done about what happened to your money, Facebook is like an entity. You walk in the door and you got everything else. Which reminds me, they postponed people returning to their office until January. Now, and I will admit that I've had some interaction with Mark Zuckerberg on a one-on-one level, and we've discussed some things. But this has nothing to do with that. But Facebook has arranged for 4 outside organizations to handle their fundraisers. Now, the fundraiser that I'm involved in is not a GoFund, which is usually for medical emergencies or some, unfortunate event that has happened with the family and they need community support, either for a funeral or medical expenses or something like that. This is not that. And I have not declared myself as of yet a nonprofit, which would put me in another category altogether, 501c. So we're just working out all these details. I'm working them out. But I have to go through each thing as I learn about it or as I see an opportunity to make use of it. So I don't know which one of those 4 organizations might have the money from the fundraiser. I haven't been able to pin that down. And there are other groups with more people involved and responsible for more people that have put fundraisers up on Facebook, 10,000 or more, for a specified amount of time. And in order to keep these things going, it does require that I put some money out there. It's not just like free. It's got to be promoted. It's got to be marketed. they want you to speak on it and they give you reminders, and now it's time for this, and now it's time for that. It's going to cost you this amount, that amount. So I have not interacted with any of these other groups that did their fundraiser at the same time that I did mine because I just kind of got involved with my own thing, so I don't know what their results were. And that's for people that have a physical location to go to. Mine is all electronic, internet, etc., etc. So if you will bear with me a little while longer, we'll see how things go with PayPal. Separate, and although I'm still using Facebook for the sideshow, and you might see it some other places, and move accordingly. There's always room for comments. I don't see all the numbers all the time. I do see various demographic statistics, things from New York, some things from California, a smidgen here, a smidgen there. I'm not going to brag on any part of it. It's just, it's there. There are a lot of people that can access it. I do have conversations with people all over the world, if I can use that phrase. So thank you for all of that. We're all learning together, so we don't have to step on anybody's toes to make a point. But, progress. And that being said, how's things going with your self-care, with your physical activity, with your mindfulness, all those things? Remember, you got to stick with it. I've had some things going on, but I feel like I'm back on track now. I had to slow down for a minute or two, but I actually felt like doing something the other day, and I did it. And for a while there, I had some other things. Well, they were medical issues, medical appointments that I had to keep, and transitioning on those, but I feel like I'm back on track now. So remember, PayPal for the sideshow, Theodore Parker 90 gmail.com, and be safe with your mask. That's it. Hashtag.